Welcome back to TapThatAZ. I'm your host, Eric Walters. In this episode, I sit down with Rob from North Mountain Brewing Company, just hang out, talk about some beers, talk about his philosophy on brewing beer, just have a good time. Be sure to visit the YouTube channel for the video episode. Be sure to subscribe so you get updated each time a new video comes out, including behind the scenes and the pour of the week. So let's tap into North Mountain Brewing Company. All right, well, I'm at North Mountain Brewing Company. I'm with Rob Berkner. Rob, thanks for joining me, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is pretty great. We're, what is it, northwest corner, 7th Street and Dunlap?
Dunlap, yeah.
And Cave Creek. Mm-hmm. It's where the three meet, pretty much.
Just west of the intersection.
Okay, gotcha. And you guys have been open 2013?
2013, March of 2013.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice, man, nice. Well, congratulations. It's a great place, for
Thank
sure.
you. I appreciate that.
Why did you decide that you want to make beer for a living?
Well, okay, that's funny. I haven't gotten that question in a while, but I started brewing in the early 90s, and you'd think I'd know the date. I actually have my original recipe book upstairs.
Oh, really?
But back then there wasn't a lot of good beer. There were a couple of breweries around, but
okay.
So I just started brewing on my own, and I was running a couple businesses one after another, not at the same time, and eventually one petered out, and I kind of, as every home brewer wants to do, I wanted to make beer for a living, and the stars lined up, and I had the opportunity, so I folded one business and opened another.
Nice, but you've been homebrewing for quite a while, right? Didn't you have a trip back in the day to Europe? And
I've been to Europe twice. The first time I turned 16 in Switzerland, which was kind of cool.
Nice.
And I was traveling with my parents, and they would allow me to have 1 pint a night, and so we'd go traveling town to town, and each town had its own brewery, and I'd go in, and it was pretty much an ordinary or a bitter, or it wasn't anything crazy, but it showed me that there was real beer in the world.
Nice.
So the second time I went to Europe was actually with Siebel Institute, which is America's oldest brewing school.
Yeah.
And we do a stint in Munich with the Domens Institute, and got to go around and try those beer styles. So
nice. So when you were 16, that was legal drinking age? You could drink at 16, or you just
I don't know. Never got carded. Didn't matter. I always looked older at that time, so no one ever asked.
Right. Yeah. And you're not going to say, hey.
No. But they are certainly much more flexible about that kind of stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
In Europe, yeah.
Yeah, well, good for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we're going to go off topic a little bit.
That's fine.
But you guys have beer here.
We do.
Yeah.
We do, actually. And we make it.
Yes, make it here. And you guys, your tap list, I think there's 18 on tap right now, and these are all yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
I got to admit, the original plan when we opened was to have some guest taps.
Okay.
And when we first opened, we did for a while. And I don't mean to be selfish, but there's something about once you fill all the taps, it's hard to take your beer back off.
Oh, okay. With yours, filling them all with yours?
With stuff that we make here. And we have plenty of variety. I mean, we've got our barrel room over there where we've got, I don't know what the exact count is, but about 50 barrels over there. We started with 8 taps, then we added up to 12. We're now up to 20. We have 18 on right now.
Okay.
But part of that was just simply we have all this beer in barrels, and we didn't have taps to put it on. So we expanded one of our coolers, one of our tap selections up to 12, so bringing us to 20 total.
Okay, nice.
So now we can start getting our barrel-aged beers on more regularly.
Yeah, nice. And we noticed that too, because me and Aaron were, I got here and he'd already tried side A of the menu.
Right. Not
Not even realizing there was a side B, right? And you flip it over and then you see those ABVs go up on that backside. Yeah, that's like so, and what I like too, the menu isn't overcrowded with just, IPAs are kind of where it runs that's everybody wants IPAs. So there's 4, 5, 10 IPAs that people have. You guys have a couple. The double IPA, actually, is that the only IPA I think I see on there, right?
Right now, that's the only IPA.
Yeah.
That's not going to last for long. We usually try to keep a couple on. But we actually have our first ever session IPA.
Okay. Yeah.
Which it's kind of a funny little thing there because we were talking about East Coast IPAs and what does it mean?
Yeah.
So I'm making a session IPA, but that's another style I struggle with because in my mind it's a pale ale.
Right.
With a little extra hops.
Yeah.
So it kind of took me a while to buy into it.
Okay.
So we ended up making one. Now, first of all, the Belay, our double IPA, is our standard IPA.
Okay.
We used to just call it Belay IPA. We changed it to double because it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're bringing on this new one that I'm going to have to rename. It was going to be renamed Oxymoron IPA, Session IPA.
I like that.
But since April, it was available in April. Since then, 3 breweries have used it.
Oh,
that
really?
name, so we're going to have to find something else.
Yeah.
But that kind of tells you the way I look at the style in general of it. It's an oxymoron. Come on. What do you mean Session IPA? What does that mean? So,
right.
But it turned out really tasty, and it's going to go on tap here probably next week.
Nice. I'm gonna have to come here to try that. So the cream golden lager. Like, tell me about that one.
It's one of my pride and joys, and I'll tell you how the whole thing came about. Because when we first opened up, I basically threw all my home brewing notes away. I didn't take any of the recipes I had. That's almost true. One of them was the Soiled Dove.
Okay.
Was a beer that I'd brewed before, and I changed it a little, but that was supposed to be our house blonde.
Okay.
Well, one day I was talking to Steve McFate over from McFate's Brewing, or Adam. That was a while ago. I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was out of grain, and they happened to have gotten a pallet of grain in. Back then, they didn't have a mill, and they got everything pre-milled. Well, this whole pallet came in unmilled, so they couldn't use it. I needed it. So sight unseen, I drove over with the trailer, loaded up all their grain, bought it off them, brought it back here. Really had no idea what was on it.
Yeah.
And sat down, looked through what was in there, and I came up with the recipe for the cream.
Nice.
So it was really kind of a lark. It wasn't meant to be the flagship beer, so to speak. Well, in the end, it's been so tasty. It is our #1 bestseller.
That's the one. That's the
is
one.
#1,
Yeah.
even over IPA, and that's rare for a microbrewery to have an IPA not be on top.
Right.
But and I think part of that's our area, which I'm also proud of, because this is still a burgeoning craft beer scene here.
Yeah.
So I think the cream's a great beer to bring people that aren't normally craft beer drinkers in, because, like we were saying earlier, it's a simple beer style, but it's complex for a simple beer.
Right.
So people come in and it shows them the flavors that can be in beer without being so big and overwhelming that they can't handle it. So it's a really good transition beer for a lot of people, and well suited for the area.
Yeah. With the cream, real quick, backtrack. The name has special meaning too, right? It's acronym.
Yeah, and I'm not going to change it despite people's requests, but it is an acronym. It's Candy, Rob, Emily, Aaron, Megan. And yes, to my daughters, that is the order. They always fight about which, the 2 E's are always fighting about which one comes first. Sorry, that's the way it is.
Right.
But so it's an acronym for the family. I'm the R.
Okay.
Candy is my wife. She's also a co-owner and helps run the place.
Nice.
She's the C. One of the M's is actually the girl that brought us our water. That's my daughter.
That's your daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
So they all work here at various times.
Yeah. Nice. It's a full-on family place.
But it's the problem is it's not actually a cream ale, and it's not spelled that way. But if we added lactose to it, it would basically be spot on for a cream. So no one's disappointed. But it does create a little confusion for some people.
Oh, gotcha. I thought it was. I thought it was a cream ale, actually, until you just told me.
Oh, that's about the only difference. Throw some lactose in, and it would be. But
yeah.
I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah. Well, when you're at that point, you're splitting hairs. It's like,
yeah.
Well, this is not a cream. Was it good? Yeah. Well, shut up.
Well, I know. I like that statement right there. I keep saying it. People come in and, I've had, well, this doesn't really fit the style. Okay, but you just ordered another one. So it must be doing something right.
Real quick, I wanted to say this about the cream is it's a 5.9%, right?
Yeah.
That's the flavor for it. That's sneaky, right? Because you taste it and you're thinking, oh, that's normally like a 4% beer, but it's super drinkable. But that 5.9 it's solid.
And that's kind of a contradiction, because I really love that beer and I'm not going to take it, but that's the brewer in me. The businessman is kind of ticked about that, because there are a lot of people that come in and they have 1 or 2 and they're done, where you go to another place that their blonde is 4.5 and you can have that extra beer, and it's so my beer's more expensive to make and you can't drink as much of it.
Yeah.
So business-wise, it's not a very smart decision.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But in the end,
It's a damn good beer.
It's a damn good beer. I'm not going to mess with it. It's just the way it is. It's like the Session IPA I was starting to talk about, which we really need to come up with a name. It's still going to clock in around 5.5.
Yeah.
So is that really a session?
Right. What type of session?
Well,
what's your tolerance? Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But it's a really good beer. I think it's going to go over well.
Yeah, nice. And I'll be out in about a week. Actually, by the time this episode goes out, it's probably going to
be out.
Yeah.
It definitely will. It's just basically it's just waiting for that last little bit of clarity because I like nice, pretty beer.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're on page 2. We flipped this thing over, and a lot of these are the barrel aged, or a few of them are.
Yeah, there's a few. It's a mixed bag on there.
Okay.
Barrel aged, a few Belgians.
Anything on here specifically? So I've got
Satan's Gut's one of those beers. We actually brewed a beer called Satan's Gut last year. This was the beer it was supposed to be, but last year at the last minute I changed it into a black IPA. I'm sorry, brown IPA.
Okay.
With actual roast, because that's another one of those people make black IPAs, but it's just colored and it tastes exactly like the IPA. I don't get that. But if you add roast, some nice dark malts and give it a nice flavor, okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
It has a bunch of smoked malts in it and some roasted chilies in it. So it has a bit of smoke and that roasted chili flavor.
The peppers really stand out in this one. Like there's poblano, jalapeno, Fresno, and ancho peppers. Yeah. You can really taste those. Yeah.
That's the kind of beer you make knowing not a lot of people are going to like. It's a very niche beer.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, some of the people that like it aren't the demographics you'd expect. Like, I've had quite a number of older ladies love it.
Really?
And yeah, that's shocking. It's like, wait, you're supposed to be drinking the cream. What are you doing? But that's great on them.
Yeah.
My only real disappointment with that beer is that I didn't put any in a barrel. What was I thinking?
Come on, Rob. No, that's fantastic. Like I'm not. I don't know. I was gonna say I'm not usually a fan of peppers in beers, but I actually am. Like I know McFate does the Gatos or the Hatch Chili.
Yeah.
Pale or something like that.
They do that in a cream ale, don't they?
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
I haven't had it yet, but I've heard. Yeah, I've heard.
That's
good
your
stuff
favorite
about
one?
it.
Yeah. It's got some bite to it.
The idea of this was not to have it scald your face out.
Right.
That by the end of the first or maybe the second beer that it builds up towards that eventually you get some good heat. And you see it's definitely got heat, but it's not overwhelming. It's not crazy hot.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot because it's more of the tangy peppery taste than like a sweet peppery taste.
Yeah.
And then this one's interesting just to look at. This is the Plum Quad.
Okay.
This is a barrel-aged dark Belgian,
Yeah.
9.5%. So
with
been
plums
staring
in
me
the
down.
barrel.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of flavor, but being a quad, it's got some of the darker malts that give the dark sugars, the raisin, the plums and stuff. So it seemed like a pretty natural fit, and that is definitely going to be a recurring beer. How often, I don't know, but you'll definitely see that again.
Yeah, that's really good too. And I like the description too. And dark European dark crystal malt. Sounds like a David Bowie movie or something, right? But no, it's really good. And this was aged in this was Cabernet barrels.
Yeah.
And with these dark beers that you have, they're not like overwhelming. They're not like heavy, sit in your stomach. You know what I mean?
A little this, a little that. Come back in the winter and have our nib.
The nib? I feel like I had the nib before. What is that?
It's our Imperial Stout.
I think I've had that before, yeah.
And
like
it typically clocks in around 13%.
Yeah.
And love the beer. I absolutely love it, but it is definitely a sipper. It is definitely not my joke is, this is the naked sitting in a snowbank beer.
Okay.
If you're going to be naked sitting in a snowbank, but you're sipping on that, the world will be good.
Yeah. Well, because with that, and I remember that I have had that one, because I remember when I came in, I'm like, yeah, I'll take this. And the girl was like, let me give you a taste first. I'm like, no, I want it. She's like, I'm going to give you a taste. Yeah. And I tasted it and it was good, but that's a sipper.
That's company policy, actually, especially with the bigger beers like that.
Interesting.
Because so many people, I don't care. I know I'll like it. And the Satan's Gut would be even a better example, but the nib, if you're not ready for that big wall of flavor and you order it and then you complain about it, kind of drives me nuts because that's our pride and joy, and it's not a cheap beer, and now I'm supposed to go dump a glass.
Yeah.
So we pretty much, if you haven't had it before, company policy is, here, take a sip of it and make sure it's what you want.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's a good approach, because with those more expensive beers to make, usually come in like 10 ounce, right? You're not getting 22 ounces of with a nib. But most places are like, hey, can I taste that? And it's, they're little, it's like, this is expensive. Every little ounce of this matters. But that's good. I'd rather give away 1 ounce than pour out 10 ounces.
Well, and it's for both of our interests. In the end, there are people that are like, oh, wow, okay, that thing's huge. That's not where I'm going.
Yeah.
So it's better for both of us, because we want you to have the beer that you're looking for. If you come in and the one beer you have is just this huge, intense imperial stout, and you leave here unhappy, well, who gains from that?
Right. Yeah, exactly. You've got so many things, like the ranges, like all these things I have in front of me right now. Like, I don't even know what to go towards. But Aaron just brought me another one. This is the Phraseology. Okay. What is this one? Belgian Quad. I like the Belgians.
It's okay. So you're seeing a bunch of variations of the same beer here. That was the cream that soured.
Okay.
Blended with the nefarious, much like you've got a couple versions of it.
Yeah.
So you probably have the nefarious itself in front of you. The plum quad is based on that. The phraseology is based on that. And also, I don't think you've gotten there, but we have the Safarius, which is...
I think he killed that one, yeah.
that was put in a safe word barrel from Superstition Meadery.
Oh yeah, I did have that one, yes.
Yeah.
That one was, yeah.
So we have the same beer going in a couple different directions right now.
Yeah, nice. What all works. It definitely all works. Yeah. So what's next? What's next for you guys? Like, you've got all these good things. You got 50 barrels in this room, got some barrel age going. What's where do you see this?
We still have room for more fermenters. So really just keeping on the current course for the most part.
Okay.
I mean, we just added 2 more 20-barrel fermenters, which involved a lot of work because we rebuilt our whole glycol system to help accommodate it.
Okay.
When I originally built it, I did it out of regular PVC, which is not meant to hold 29-degree liquid.
Okay.
So it gets brittle.
Okay.
A lot of breweries have gotten away with it for decades, but I didn't want to take that chance. So we kind of had to stop brewing for a while, rebuild everything. So now we're back to where we're going to get these 2 20-barrel fermenters hooked up, and that'll let us expand. That's another 40 barrels. That's a lot of capacity for us. And when I was looking around, it's funny because I thought, I might be able to get 4 fermenters over in this corner.
Yeah.
In the end, now that the 2 are there and I'm planning it out, I think we can get a total of 9, so 7 more. The big problem is we'll have to figure out a new place to store our grain.
Okay. Yeah.
But so we're looking pretty good as far as beer production and being able to continue to expand for the foreseeable future.
Nice. Plans for bottling or canning or anything like that at any point?
Yes. And if we're going to do it, we need to get moving soon. It's going to start small. We actually have done a couple test batches of our nib, the Imperial Stout, bottle condition, cork and cage, Belgian bottles.
Nice.
And the big thing holding us up now is we have some ideas for a label, but we haven't officially done anything, which means we have to go through the government to get them okayed. And if they're going to be bottle conditioned, then they have to sit for a little while, for a month, before you can even think of releasing them.
So there's another level of regulation based on that stuff.
Yeah, and just bottle condition takes a little while to carbonate up since it's natural carbonation.
Okay.
But that's where we want to start with, is just, I don't know, maybe 100 or 200, not a whole lot, a decent run to make it worth our while, but starting with the big stuff. As far as the things, I would love to see something like the cream in a can.
Are you on tap across the valley?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of excess production at this point. It'll definitely jump up with these new fermenters.
Okay.
We're generally rotating in and out of a number of places, and that's the one thing is, as everybody who's probably listening to this knows, rotating taps are the name of the game at this point. So we get in and out of pretty much all the main places, and you're on for a bit, and then they move on to someone else, and they come back to you, and that's fine. It's good for the consumer, that's for sure. Between bringing back the old styles and new styles, which quite honestly, like sours are new, but the irony about that is they all used to be sour. So that's actually the most retro style that there is.
Right.
But still, the availability of beer out there, just clean beer, sour beer, barrel aged, just everything. This is the golden age of beer.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah. Well, Arizona too. Like, I mean, I moved out here in 2007, and I think we were talking earlier, you guys opened up in 2013, and at that point there was, 35, 40?
So
maybe?
I forget our number, but we were like 34, 36 or somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Now statewide, we're at about 100.
That's crazy.
So that's my ongoing joke. I told you that earlier at 4.5 years old, we're one of the oldest breweries in the state.
Right.
And then we looked it up, and the oldest continuously run brewery was Prescott, which opened in 94.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we looked up.
Yep.
I mean, it seems like it's been longer than that, but...
Right. Dude, thanks for doing this. This has been awesome.
No problem. I really appreciate you coming.
Yeah. Northwest corner, 7th Street and Dunlap, also Cave Creek, the three corners, as I call it. I coined that phrase 13 seconds ago, pretty much. NorthMountainBrewing.com, and then Instagram, you guys are NMT Brew. Well, guys, come here, drink the beer. I definitely recommend the double IPA. That was my favorite. I'm an IPA guy, so this double IPA was really good. And then those Asian sliders, and then Aaron backs up the pretzels. So.
Well, and by the time this comes out, our Bearded Dragon should be back. That's our brown IPA.
Ooh, interesting.
And that's another really popular one.
Okay.
So we will get back. I know we only have one IPA on right now, but by the time this comes out, we'll be back up to 2 or 3.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, and Belgians too. Like we talked about the Belgian style beers. Not a lot of people are brewing these. You love the Belgian styles, and I love that you make them because I'm a big fan.
All right. Good deal.
So, all right, buddy. Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching this episode. If you guys like what you're seeing here, what we're trying to do for the Arizona beer scene, make sure that you follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Everything's going to be on TapThatAZ.com. Doing what we can to support Arizona beer. Always remember, stay awesome.